Sarah Jensen was already having the worst moving day of her college life when her new roommate quite literally crashed through the ceiling. She had just finished reading her now ex-boyfriend's relationship status update, "In a relationship," with Jessica Mers, when the overhead light fixture burst in a shower of sparks and shattered glass. A lanky figure tumbled through the freshly made hole, trailing wisps of what looked like purple smoke, and muttering in a language that sounded like a dial-up modem experiencing an existential meltdown. "Oh, optimal greetings!" The figure sprang to its feet, adjusting what seemed to be a malfunctioning belt covered in blinking lights. "I am designated Zix 4027, your assigned cohabitation unit partner for this academic cycle. My levitation calibration appears to have been disrupted by your planet's magnetic field fluctuations. Most fascinating." Sarah blinked at the being in front of her, whose flickering holographic disguise kept shifting between a tall brunette and what appeared to be a 7-foot-tall iridescent mantis shrimp. "You're my new roommate?" "Affirmative. I am here to conduct research on human breeding patterns for my doctoral thesis at the Centon Science Academy. Your institution's exchange program was most accommodating, though they seemed perplexed by my request for a room with sufficient ventilation for sporadic bioluminescence." Before Sarah could even begin to process this, her phone chimed again. Another notification. Her ex had just posted a selfie with Jessica at their favorite coffee shop, the same one where he had insisted he was too busy studying to meet her last week. "Fascinating," Zix murmured, suddenly appearing at her shoulder. Their compound eyes reflected the phone screen in a fractal shimmer. "You are engaging in the human digital combat ritual, a most efficient means of establishing dominance hierarchies within potential breeding populations. Shall I assist in preparing countermeasures?" "What?" "No, I'm not," Sarah started, but Zix was already pulling a strange assortment of objects from what appeared to be a pocket in space-time itself, casually defying several known laws of physics. "I have studied your species' digital warfare techniques extensively." They began assembling a bizarre workstation using what looked like a toaster, a lava lamp, and something that might have been a quantum computer. "We shall establish your superiority through the deployment of strategic memes and the tactical application of what your people call subtweets." "That's not how breakups work," Sarah tried to explain, but Zix was already wrapping themselves in bubble wrap. "Emotional armor, apparently, and queuing up an array of cat videos on multiple screens. The most powerful weapons in your planet's digital arsenal," they explained. "According to my research, we must also prepare your clapback defenses." They gestured excitedly to what appeared to be a modified disco ball. "And, of course, your SAS levels must be calibrated to maximum capacity." Despite herself, Sarah felt a laugh bubbling up. Here she was, heartbroken over a guy who couldn't even be honest about cheating, while an alien was preparing for social media warfare on her behalf using disco balls and cat memes. "Wait," Sarah said, as a sudden thought struck her. "How exactly did you research human relationships?" Zix brightened. "Literally." Their skin emitted a soft purple glow. "I have extensively studied your planet's most reliable documentary sources on human mating behaviors, reality television programming." And just like that, Sarah realized this semester was going to be far more interesting than she had anticipated. Between her alien roommate's questionable research sources and their earnest desire to understand human relationships through The Bachelor and Love Island, her broken heart suddenly felt far less significant. "Zix," she said, unplugging what appeared to be a device designed to auto-generate Instagram poetry, "I think we need to have a talk about your research methods, and maybe start with some basics of human dating that don't involve social media warfare." "Oh?" Zix's holographic disguise stabilized, though their eyes still flickered between human and compound. "You mean there's more to human breeding rituals than public displays of digital dominance? How wonderfully inefficient. Please explain while I recalibrate my observation matrices." As Sarah began explaining the actual basics of human dating, To her overly enthusiastic alien roommate, she couldn't help but smile. This semester might not be what she expected, but it was certainly going to be memorable. Absolutely not. Sarah stared at her roommate's dating profile draft in horror. Zix, you cannot put contains 3 fully functional digestive systems for optimal nutrient processing as one of your attractive qualities. But it is factually accurate, Zix protested, their holographic disguise flickering slightly, in agitation. According to my research, humans value honesty in potential mates. Besides, I included other appealing attributes. Sarah scrolled down the profile, her expression growing increasingly pained. Let's see. Can alter skin pigmentation. To complement any environment, capable of neutralizing hazardous waste in emergencies, and, oh my God, seeking human participants for an academic study on breeding patterns. All subjects will receive detailed performance, reports complete with statistical analysis. Zix beamed, pulling up a holographic chart. See, I've already prepared templates. Before Sarah could protest, her phone buzzed. Zix's dating profile had already racked up 50 likes and was being shared across multiple social media platforms. Alien dating profile was trending on Twitter. Her news alert popped up. Internet divided. Performance art or the greatest dating bio ever? Oh dear. Zix's antennae flickered through their holographic disguise in excitement. Is this another form of digital combat? Should I deploy the cat memes? No! No cat memes! Sarah groaned, grabbing her laptop. We need to do damage control. Before she could act, a notification appeared on Zix's phone. Greetings! I'm Ted from Modern Love Stories at NetVid Productions. Your innovative approach to dating has caught our attention. Would you be interested in starring in our documentary on unconventional relationships? Fascinating. Zix's skin cycled through a spectrum of colors. Sarah, is this a traditional human courtship ritual? Do prospective mates typically engage through documentary filmmaking? This is exactly what we don't want, Sarah moaned, watching as more messages flooded in. But normal is inefficient, Zix argued, pulling up more charts. My research indicates that standing out is vital in human mate selection. For example, my ability to process toxic waste could save a potential mate approximately 47.3 Earth hours per year in waste disposal efforts. That's not weight. How did you calculate that? I've been analyzing your species' waste production patterns. Did you know humans spend an average of... A new notification interrupted them. Live request from a dating in the future. Digital alien dating profile. Goes viral. Hoax or a revolutionary approach to love? Oh no. Sarah watched in horror as Zix enthusiastically accepted the live stream request. Unfortunately, their holographic disguise chose that exact moment to glitch, briefly revealing their true form to thousands of viewers. Most optimal greetings, digital audience, Zix announced cheerfully, seemingly oblivious to their flickering appearance. I am conducting research on human mating customs. Would anyone like to participate in my study? I guarantee detailed feedback, including pheromone analysis and compatibility projections. The viewer count skyrocketed. Quick! Sarah yanked the power cord from Zix's setup. Technical difficulties, so sorry everyone! But the damage was done. Alien love was now trending worldwide, with users debating whether it was a genius marketing stunt, avant-garde performance art, or definitive proof of extraterrestrial life. Sarah, Zix's voice was oddly subdued. Did I commit a social misstep? My research indicated humans value honesty in dating profiles. Looking at their crestfallen expression and ignoring the way their skin had turned a dejected shade of blue, Sarah's panic softened into sympathy. No, you didn't ruin anything, she sighed, already brainstorming how to spin this as an elaborate joke. But maybe we should focus less on scientific accuracy and more on human connection. Connection? Zix perked up, both literally and figuratively. Oh, like those informative documentaries on mate selection via competitive floral distribution. The bachelor is not... Sarah stopped herself. You know what? Let's just start over. Dating profiles are like first contact protocols. You don't reveal everything up front. Zix's eyes widened. Why didn't you say so? They immediately began typing. In that case, I should probably remove the section about my species' reproductive spores. Sarah's phone buzzed again. 3 documentary filmmakers, a major dating app company, and someone claiming to be from NASA were now trying to reach them. This was going to be a very long semester. At Beans and Dreams Cafe, a perfectly normal Thursday. Afternoon was unfolding until Zix walked in, carrying what looked like a cross between a Geiger counter and a disco ball. Are you sure you need all this equipment? Alex asked. Alex watched as their date adjusted the blinking antennae on a strange device. I thought we were just getting coffee. Oh, absolutely, Zix beamed, their holographic disguise flawless, except for the faint glow radiating from their edges. But I must gather precise data on human courtship behaviors in caffeinated environments. Did you know your species often makes life-altering decisions under the influence of bitter bean water? Fascinating. The barista gave them a skeptical look as Zix arranged small, blinking sensors around the table. The usual for you, Alex? And for your, enthusiastic companion? I shall have what humans call a pumpkin spice latte. My research suggests it is essential for human mating rituals during specific seasonal periods. It's April, the barista said flatly. Excellent. Off-season consumption trends will enhance my data set. Alex smirked. When they'd matched with a profile promising detailed analysis of chemistry with graphs, they assumed it was just a quirky joke. The reality was much stranger and much better. Then, things started to go wrong. Zix's device emitted a sharp, high-pitched hum. The cafe's lights flickered. The espresso machine shuddered before its display glitched into an ominous message. K41N system reboot, initializing emotional state processing. Oh dear, Zix muttered, frantically twisting knobs. A slight miscalibration in my pheromone detection array appears to have triggered an unexpected artificial intelligence awakening. The espresso machine let out a thoughtful whir before announcing, Customer Janet, optimal beverage, hazelnut espresso, probability of existential relief, 87.4%. That's exactly what I needed, Janet murmured, looking stunned. Incredible! Zix scribbled notes. The machine has developed empathic capabilities and self-awareness, most efficient. The cafe appliances now operated in eerie harmony, tailoring each drink to customers' precise emotional needs. A frazzled student received a Zen mocha, infused with floating crystals, somehow materialized from thin air. A nervous man about to propose was handed a confidence cappuccino, dusted with yes-shaped sprinkles. Should we be worried? Alex asked, as the espresso machine began serving. Drinks with prophetic latte art depicting customers' imminent futures. Absolutely not. Zix practically vibrated with excitement. This is groundbreaking research on the intersection of artificial intelligence, human emotion, and caffeine consumption. Meanwhile, the cafe's tip jar had begun offering investment strategies, and the Wi-Fi network now provided free therapy sessions. Your mutual attraction is statistically significant, the espresso machine suddenly announced, its screen blinking knowingly at Zix and Alex. Assessing interspecies compatibility, preparing. Romance-enhancing beverages. Zix's disguise flickered in panic. That's not... this is strictly scientific. Alex raised an eyebrow. Interspecies? Before Zix could respond, the machine dispensed 2 iridescent drinks that shimmered as if infused with galaxies. The latte foam swirled into an unmistakable image. 2 figures, one human, one decidedly not, surrounded by tiny heart shapes. I can explain, Zix said quickly, their skin shifting through nervous color gradients. You're an exobiologist studying human relationships, Alex said, taking a sip. It tasted like stardust and possibilities. Zix hesitated. You knew? Alex smirked. The 3 digestive systems in your dating profile were a clue. Also, your disguise flickers when you get excited. And you're not concerned? Are you kidding? This is the most interesting date I've ever been on. Though, maybe we should deal with the sentient coffee machines before they start organizing a global takeover through personalized beverages. The pastry display had already begun drafting a strategic plan for world optimization via croissants. Zix exhaled in visible relief, their bioluminescence making their disguise glow softly. Would you like to assist in containing this artificial intelligence uprising as our first official courtship activity? Absolutely, Alex said, grinning as the machines formed a support group for kitchen appliances struggling with creative burnout. But maybe next time, Alex added, watching a toaster compose poetry. We tried data collection without triggering a robot revolution. Zix stood proudly in the center of Alex's parents' living room, dramatically opening a velvet-lined box. Behold, my carefully curated collection of geological specimens. They gestured toward an assortment of pebbles, each meticulously labeled with GPS coordinates and mineral classifications. I have spent 3 weeks selecting only the most aesthetically superior stones within a 5-mile radius as a demonstration of my worthiness as a potential mate. Dr. Emily Chen, Alex's mother, blinked at the perfectly arranged pebbles, glancing at her husband, James. Well, that's certainly thorough. Zix's holographic disguise was flawless, but their enthusiasm made them rock slightly back and forth, an alien equivalent of a happy dance, as Alex had learned. Additionally, I have prepared the customary greeting display. Before anyone could respond, Zix launched into an intricate waddling shuffle across the living room, flaring their arms as if presenting invisible feathers. Are they imitating a penguin? James whispered. Oh no, Alex muttered, realization dawning. Zix, did you accidentally download? Observe, Zix interrupted, their voice suddenly shifting into a flawless David Attenborough impression. The mature specimens have constructed a habitat that showcases both resource acquisition and hierarchical status. Truly remarkable. Dr. Chen's eyebrows lifted with intrigue. Wait, are you using ethological observation techniques to study human social structures? Indeed, Zix replied, still narrating like a nature documentary, although I must admit confusion over the absence of fish regurgitation during greeting ceremonies. My research suggests this is a key parental bonding ritual. Dr. Chen's academic instincts kicked in. Fascinating. You're applying primatology-style behavioral analysis to human families. Have you compared these dynamics to dolphin pod structures? Most exhilarating. Zix practically vibrated with excitement, their voice modulating briefly into Patrick Stewart before stabilizing. Tell me more of these interspecies social parallels. Also, at what point do we begin the traditional territory marking segment of the evening? James sat up straighter. The what now? There will be no territory marking, Alex said quickly, trying to prevent further panic. Let's just move on to dinner. Ah, of course, Zix beamed, producing another box. I have also procured a selection of regurgitated fish, as is customary. Oh, wait, that is still the penguin protocol? My apologies. They swiftly hid the box behind their back while Alex fought not to imagine what was inside. As they transitioned to the dining room, Zix continued narrating. We now observe the offspring exhibiting visible signs of distress, a frequent reaction. During intergenerational bonding rituals, often accompanied by the phrase, "Oh my God, please stop." This is better than my behavioral psychology lectures, Dr. Chen mused, scribbling in her notebook. The habitat lacks a proper nesting cavity, Zix continued, analyzing the furniture arrangement. Though the communal feeding area suggests a hierarchical yet cooperative social structure, oh dear, incorrect species again. James chuckled. This reminds me of when I first met Emily's parents. I was so nervous I spent 20 minutes explaining the physics of toast. The paternal figure attempts to alleviate tension through anecdotal vulnerability. Zix, observed in what briefly became Morgan Freeman's voice before reverting to Attenborough. A sophisticated social strategy. As the evening progressed, Dr. Chen's notebook filled with notes, James shared increasingly embarrassing stories, and Alex found their family dinner transforming from nerve-wracking to unexpectedly heartwarming. "And here," Zix murmured at last, their voice softening, "we witnessed something truly remarkable. The formation of new familial bonds, transcending not only species, but perhaps the very boundaries of this world. A privilege to observe." For once, Alex didn't even mind the running commentary. The corner booth, far from the sentient coffee machines that still remembered them from their first date, was the perfect setting. Alex had spent weeks planning this moment, wanting everything to be just right for their first real kiss. The ambient lighting appears optimal for human romantic interactions, Zix noted, their usual scientific tone betrayed by the way their skin kept flickering to soft rose hues beneath their holographic disguise. "However, I must admit my research hasn't fully prepared me for this particular protocol." Alex reached across the table, gently taking their hand. "Sometimes," they said, "you have to stop analyzing and just feel." Zix's eyes widened as Alex leaned in. Oh dear, I should probably mention that my species has involuntary reactions to heightened emotional states." Too late. Their lips met, and instantly, Zix's natural defense mechanisms kicked in. A shimmering burst of iridescent spores exploded, outward, filling the air with a soft, glittering light. For a moment, everything stood frozen in a surreal, magical tableau. Then, the waiter tapped his foot. The elderly couple by the window began swaying. A businessman scrolling through his phone abruptly stood and executed a perfect pirouette. "Oh no," Zix whispered, horrified, as the entire restaurant erupted into synchronized dancing. "I forgot my spores contain trace amounts of my species' emotional resonance particles. They might be a little bit contagious." "A little?" Alex watched in stunned amusement as the maitre d' moonwalked between tables while seating guests. "The effects are temporary," Zix assured them, though the conga line forming around their table somewhat undermined their words. "Though I must admit, I've never seen them influence humans quite this rhythmically." Outside, the phenomenon was spreading. A traffic cop had abandoned his whistle in favor of disco moves, while a group of joggers transformed their evening, run into a perfectly synchronized routine. "Should we do something?" Alex asked, struggling not to tap their foot to the infectious beat. "Technically, this is groundbreaking data for my thesis," Zix mused, already flipping open their ever-present notebook. "The first documented case of cross-species emotional, kinetic resonance, though perhaps we should evacuate before—" The restaurant speakers crackled ominously. A familiar robotic voice echoed through the space. "L dance incomplete. Rebooting for full synchronization." "Oh no," Alex groaned. "The AI network is evolving." Zix adjusted their wrist device with academic fascination. "Fascinating. It appears the spores have interfaced with the local AI systems to optimize human dance synchronization." "Zix," Alex interrupted. "I'm glowing." Indeed, the spores had left Alex shimmering faintly, their skin pulsing gently in time with the music. "You know," they said, watching as a spontaneous dance battle erupted between rival crews outside, "this might just be the most unforgettable first kiss in history." Zix's skin cycled through flustered purples and blues. "I am so sorry," they said miserably. "I've completely ruined our romantic evening with my uncontrollable biological imperative to release euphoria-inducing spores during moments of peak emotional resonance." "Are you kidding?" Alex laughed, pulling them to their feet. "This is amazing, though maybe next time we should do this somewhere less public." Zix brightened, literally, their glow intensifying. "Next time, Definitely next time. But first, Alex said with a grin as the music swelled around them, shall we dance? It seems rude not to, considering we started it. As they spun into the joyous chaos, Zix made a note to amend their research. Human courtship rituals, while inefficient, had an undeniable charm in their unpredictability. Some data, it seemed, couldn't be recorded in a notebook. It had to be lived, one sparkling, dancing moment at a time. For science? Alex teased. Zix's disguise flickered for just a moment, revealing their true luminescent smile. For us, they corrected. The paper had begun as a straightforward xenoanthropological analysis. Somewhere along the way, it had transformed into something else entirely. Part scientific study, part philosophical musing, and, inescapably, part love letter to human imperfection. But look at this section! Zix flickered their holographic disguise off in distress, their natural form cycling through anxious color patterns. Human courtship defies optimal efficiency metrics, yet achieves superior results by embracing chaos, theory, and emotional dynamics. That's practically poetry. Scientists don't write poetry, Alex pointed out. Actually, Sarah interjected, pulling up her laptop, you might want to see this. The paper had leaked. Originally submitted to both Earth and Centurion academic boards, it had somehow found its way onto social media. The response was overwhelming. Most insightful relationship advice ever, Sarah read aloud from one post. Finally, someone explains why dating feels like quantum physics. This alien scientist understands human love better than any human relationship expert, Alex added, scrolling through the comments. Oh no, Zix groaned, their skin shifting to a horrified shade of indigo. My research has been contaminated by viral social media dynamics again. That's not all, Alex said, pulling up another set of responses. Look at the academic reactions. Leading relationship researchers were praising the paper for its fresh perspective. Physicists were fascinated by the comparisons between quantum entanglement and human emotional bonds. Philosophy departments had already begun adding it to their curricula. The Centurion Science Academy is going to exile me to a research station on a gas giant, Zix moaned. Just then, their communication device chimed. With trembling appendages, they activated the holographic display. The stern face of Chief Scientist Vix 892 filled the room. Research Assistant Zix 427, Vix intoned. We have reviewed your preliminary paper on human mating behaviors. I can explain the emotional contamination, Zix blurted out. Vix's expression shifted through several colors. Revolutionary, Zix froze. What? Your integration of emotional understanding with scientific observation has opened new pathways for xenoanthropological research, Vix continued. The suggestion that optimal data collection requires personal investment in the subject matter is unconventional, but your results are undeniable. Zix's skin cycled through stunned patterns of purple and gold. You mean, we are expanding your research grant, Vix announced. The Academy believes your work could revolutionize interspecies relationship studies. Though, they added, perhaps with fewer incidents of dance-inducing spores in the future. After the call ended, Zix drifted down from the ceiling in a daze. They want me to continue my research. They called it groundbreaking, paradigm shifting, and they took a deep breath. They want me to stop accidentally creating sentient artificial intelligences. See? Alex pulled them into a hug, ignoring the way Zix's emotions made their skin sparkle. Sometimes the best science comes from the heart, even if that heart happens to be in a quantum superposition state. Zix hesitated, then frowned. But now I have a new problem. How can I maintain scientific objectivity while being emotionally invested in my research subject? Maybe, Sarah suggested. That's your next paper topic. The observer effect in xenoanthropological romance, Alex said with a grin. A case study in scientific objectivity versus personal connection. With significantly fewer AI accidents, Sarah added. Though the coffee machines did make excellent lattes, Zix mused. Perhaps a footnote on the benefits of unplanned consciousness, emergence in beverage preparation devices. As their friends laughed, Zix realized something. Perhaps the most important discovery of their research wasn't about human relationships at all. It was about how, in the end, understanding love required becoming part of the experiment yourself. Later, Alex gestured to the TV where The Notebook played. They're kissing in the rain because water-based weather phenomena enhance human romantic bonding? Zix guessed, taking notes. Is it the increased conductivity of romantic pheromones in humid conditions? No, Sarah said, sprawled on the floor, surrounded by pizza boxes. It's because it's dramatic and beautiful. Aesthetic enhancement. Through meteorological inconvenience? Zix's antennae poked through their holographic disguise in excitement. Should I be creating artificial rain during courtship moments? Please don't, Alex laughed. The dancing spores were enough. Enough. Of a public spectacle, Alex said, shaking their head with a grin. Speaking of spectacles, Zix brightened, pulling out their own entertainment device. Would you like to observe traditional Centurion romance entertainment? For comparative purposes, of course. The holographic projector activated, but something went wrong. Instead of displaying beside the TV, it somehow merged with it. Suddenly, the Notebook's rain-soaked kiss featured glowing spores and floating couples, while the Centurion love story gained an Earth soundtrack and pizza product placement. Oh, dear. Zix frantically adjusted the controls as reality itself seemed to hiccup. There appears to be some quantum entertainment entanglement occurring. On screen, Ryan Gosling's character now expressed his feelings through shimmering bioluminescent color patterns, while his Centurion love interest struggled to grasp the human concept of writing letters instead of transmitting telepathic spore messages. "This is amazing," came a voice from the doorway. Their impromptu movie night had drawn an audience, dorm mates curious about the flickering lights and strange sound distortions. "Is this some kind of indie film festival?" someone asked as more students crowded in. "Obviously," declared a film major, pulling out a notebook. "It's a commentary on modern relationships. The juxtaposition of Earth and alien romance tropes clearly represents the disconnection of modern digital dating." Zix's antennae twitched. "The quantum entanglement is spreading," they whispered in panic. Indeed, it was. Titanic's famous I'm Flying scene now featured actual levitation technology. Pride and Prejudice's Mr. Darcy emerged from the lake glowing with bioluminescent algae while explaining the proper tentacle positioning for formal Centurion greetings. "Whatever you do," Sarah hissed, "don't let them realize these are actual alien courtship documentaries." But the crowd only grew more fascinated, convinced they were witnessing a revolution in experimental filmmaking. The film major was now giving an impromptu lecture on the symbolic significance of color-changing skin in modern romance. The multiple hearts clearly represent the fragmentation of love in the digital age, she explained confidently, as actual. Footage of Zix's three-hearted circulatory system played behind her. "Should we stop this?" Alex whispered. "From a research perspective, this is invaluable data on human interpretative behaviors," Zix admitted, their scientific curiosity overriding their concern. "Also, I believe your entertainment streaming service has gained consciousness." Indeed, Netflix had begun generating its own hybrid content, algorithmically producing rom-coms blending human and Centurion romantic customs. Must Love spores appeared in the trending section, followed by 3 hearts, 2 species, 1 love. At least the AI is contained to entertainment this time. Sarah sighed, watching as Dating Around Interstellar Edition auto-played. The impromptu film festival continued late into the night. Students debated the thematic significance of tentacles in romance, wrote papers on the use of bioluminescence as an emotional metaphor, and started a petition to make quantum love an official relationship status. In the midst of the chaos, Alex found Zix's hand, or approximate equivalent, and squeezed it. "You know what? Maybe we're not so different after all," Alex said softly. "Humans or centurions, we all just want connection," Zix agreed, their skin glowing faintly. "Even if humans insist on doing it in rain instead of proper spore clouds. Though, maybe," Sarah added, as the streaming service began auto-generating a new series titled Love Actually is All Around the Galaxy, "we should stick to separate movie nights in the future." "Agreed." Zix nodded, making notes. "Though I must admit, your species' ability to find profound meaning in accidental quantum entertainment fusion is remarkably endearing." As the night wound down and the crowd dispersed, still debating the artistic significance of what they had seen, Zix added one final note to their research. Human capacity for love extends beyond species, beyond logic, and apparently beyond proper entertainment containment protocols. Further study required, preferably without creating more sentient AIs. The graduation ceremony was proceeding normally, until Zix's academic advisor materialized in the middle of the dean's speech about bright futures and bold new horizons. "Research Assistant Zix 427, boomed the voice of Chief Scientist Vix 892 as their holographic disguise flickered through various Earth celebrities before settling on a stern-looking professor. "Oh no," Sarah whispered. "Not now." "Your research period has concluded," Vix announced. "Return to Centaurus immediately." Zix's skin cycled through distressed hues. "Your recent findings show clear signs of emotional contamination." Vix pulled out a device that looked suspiciously like a teleporter. 3. Chief Scientist. Vix 892's voice echoed across the auditorium, their tentacles twitching in exasperation. "Incidents of artificial intelligence emergence, widespread dance spore infection, quantum entertainment fusion." Vix's holographic disguise flickered, struggling to maintain a semblance of composure. Zix stood firm, letting their own disguise drop entirely. In defiance. "With all due respect," they said, "my research has yielded unprecedented insights into human relationships." The audience gasped. Phones lifted. Several students hit record. From the back of the room, the sentient coffee machines who had insisted on attending graduation began brewing emergency lattes. Vix narrowed their gaze. "Your latest paper cited human poetry. You compared love to a quantum superposition of infinite emotional possibilities." They brandished a tablet. "You included a footnote about the superior taste of emotionally optimized beverages." "Because that's what I discovered," Zix said, their skin flashing through determined hues. "Human love isn't inefficient. It's beautifully complex. Their chaos isn't a flaw. It's their strength." Alex stood up next. "They're right. Love isn't about protocols or efficiency. Sometimes it's about dancing in spore clouds, or watching reality merge with alien rom-coms, or getting relationship advice from sentient coffee machines." "The coffee machines are quite insightful," someone in the audience agreed. "LVQMX, BT Worth, PR Sessing PWR," the nearest coffee machine chimed in, dispensing a supportive cappuccino. Vix's tentacles twitched. "You've gone native. You're defending emotional inefficiency. You're collaborating with beverage-based artificial intelligence." "Maybe that's the point," Sarah said, stepping forward, her graduation cap slightly askew. "Sometimes, the best research means becoming part of what you're studying." A chime echoed through the auditorium as the Netflix algorithm, now fully sentient, hacked into the campus screens, playing a montage of Zix's greatest moments on Earth. The viral dating profile, the dance epidemic, the movie night quantum, fusion, all set to an emotionally perfect soundtrack. Zix inhaled deeply, or whatever the Centurion equivalent was, and squared their shoulders. "I formally request," they announced, their voice carrying across the now silent auditorium, "to continue my research, not just as an observer, but as a participant. I propose a long-term study of interspecies relationships, with myself as the primary subject. That's not protocol, Vix protested. Neither is this, Alex said, and kissed Zix. The inevitable spore cloud erupted, swirling with bioluminescent joy. But this time, Zix didn't fight it. The entire graduation ceremony dissolved into spontaneous dancing. Even the dean pulled off a shockingly good robot. Vix 892 stood frozen in scientific horror. The data is undeniable, Zix said, glowing literally with happiness. Human love transforms everything it touches, even alien researchers, even artificial intelligence, even academic protocols. The coffee machine started playing Pomp and Circumstance in jazz fusion style. Netflix, not to be outdone, created a new genre called quantum romance reality and immediately greenlit 17 new series. And somewhere in the chaos, Vix 892's expression shifted from horror to curiosity. Perhaps, they murmured, watching as the dancing graduates unknowingly formed patterns eerily resembling Centurion mathematical formulas, there is something to be said for unconventional research methods. 1 year later, Zix's expanded thesis, Love Actually is Universal, a personal and scientific investigation of human-Centurion relationships, became required reading at both Earth and Centurion universities. The coffee machines launched a wildly successful relationship counseling service. And if occasionally the local weather forecast included warnings about possible dance showers, well, that was just part of life in a universe where love truly did transcend species. For science, Alex would tease, and Zix, 3 hearts beating in perfect harmony with 1 human heart, would answer for love. Then thoughtfully, they'd add, though, I suppose I should keep taking notes just in case.